Hi, thanks for joining me. You know, some books have the potential to be so impactful in your life. In fact, I wouldn't say life-changing because it's a little bit of a cliche, but some books just have the potential to radically influence the way that you go about your everyday. And for me, one such book had really done that more than 20 years ago. It's just so sad that the book has a bit of an unfortunate title, if you want. And I've always felt that it's unfortunate because I don't think it does justice to the impact that it can have. And I'm talking about my original copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People. And you can immediately, if you don't know about the book, get a sense that what is this about? You know, this feels rather manipulative, that you want to win friends and influence people. And also, are you a loser? Why would you want to have a book to teach you how to win friends and influence people? And that's why I say the title is a little bit unfortunate. And yet, it is one of the most successful books of all time. And it certainly had a big impact on my life. And I intend to try and bring across some of the authenticity of what this book did for me and what it can do for you. And I emphasize authenticity because I think there are principles in this book that can so easily be abused, or one can attempt to abuse it. The fact of the matter is, they don't work if you're not authentic. But when you do apply them authentically, they certainly make a big difference. And like so many things in life, you do it once or twice, it doesn't really make an impact on your life. It's only when you start to do these things again and again and again that it starts to have a neurological impact on your brain. And the neuroplasticity in how the circuitry works in your brain starts for you to start to do that by default. So you start to do the things that this book suggests that you should do in a natural, authentic, regular way without having to think about it. And that really is the impact that it's had on my life. So let me give you a quick overview, because I don't think one can cover the whole book in one session. But I'm going to try and give you an overview of the essence of the book and hopefully whet an appetite with you to delve into the deeper elements of the book. And I hope to cover these deeper elements and in more detail in subsequent videos. So the first section of the book really goes just about techniques for handling people. And off the cuff, that doesn't look like something magical. But obviously the book builds up a head of steam. The next section, I would say, is how to get people to like you. And again, you can so easily disappear from this video now and say, you know what, I don't want to be that type of person that becomes a pleaser, that wants to learn how to get people to like you. It's not about that. It's not about that. Politeness, for example, is a social behavioral set of actions that you've learned as a child, hopefully, to make your social interactions with people a little bit more softer around the edges. If you were to be invited for dinner and you didn't have proper manners and you're eating with your hands, it'll be abrasive. And in the abrasiveness, you'll push people away. So really, you learn manners as a mechanism to get people to like you. Or conversely put, as a mechanism to avoid them disliking you. And I think maybe a lot of what that section of the book is covering is to learn the things that'll make people not like you, so that you can start doing the things that will make them like you. So again, the authenticity is so important here. If you go about, and I've been there in my very, very early youth, if you go about to try and please people in a non-authentic way, it's not sustainable, you will burn out, and most people can see through the lack of authenticity. So it's not really going to try and teach you how to be fake, but it's going to teach you a set of behavioral values, little things to attend to that'll help you function better. And perhaps I'll give you one little teaser. Probably the one technique that I've used more in my 20 years than any other in this book, and simply because of the volume of interactions. And I'm talking about wanting to know something from somebody and I'm writing an email, okay? It could be a client that I'm waiting for a specific piece of information, or they need to answer me on a quotation or something to that nature. And so that's what I want. I want something. And so I start the email, I write the email about what it is that I want. But before I send, I cannot tell you how many thousands of times when I read the email, it strikes me that this email is all about me. This email is about what I want. This email is about something that they can do for me. And there is nothing in this email that formulates for whoever I'm addressing what it is that they will get out of this interaction. And so social interactions are always, if they want to be sustainable, there's got to be something in for both parties. And it's subtle changes that I then make to my emails. Normally it's the first paragraph that I add in, like, I hope you're well, and I was thinking about our project that you want us to get done on time. In order for that project to get done on time, I need the following. That shifts the emphasis away from what my immediate need was, and the reason why I started the email, away to me applying my mind to think, what does this guy need? And what will help me get what I want by offering him something that he needs, or explaining to him the impact of that which I need on what he will need or she will need. So that's one small example. The next section in the book is about getting people to start thinking the way you want them to think. It is about subtle influences, and it's specifically if you're in a management position, but if you're in a client relationship as well, you have to find a way to get people to see the way you see the world if you want stuff done. And you've all been there. You've all been in these hefty arguments, be that in your marriage, with your children, in a boardroom, where people simply don't get what you're trying to show them. They simply don't understand your way of thinking. And so in this section, again, Dale Carnegie helps with little subtle techniques, authentic techniques, that gets you to help people see the world in the way that you want them to see it. And then being a leader is the next section, and it covers so many subtle techniques, which again, I've applied so often in my 20 years, in getting people to follow you without giving offense or arousing a resentment. And it's difficult. As a leader, you sometimes have to be hard. You sometimes have to make difficult decisions. You've got to lead people down a path that they don't necessarily believe in. And you've got to do it in a way that doesn't give offense and doesn't leave resentment. And I have to, again, say, not life-changing, but without, I think, the influence of this book on my life, I may not have been the successful leader that I am. Because I've applied these techniques authentically, and it's changed my perspective. It's changed the way that I naturally want to interact. And that's what I wish for anyone who's watching these videos. And thank you for still watching. There are other aspects in the book that we'll dwell upon, probably combined in a video. Little things like how to handle criticism and dish out criticism, He spent some time to explain the emotionality of people in your interactions, as if we didn't know that. But of course, the angle that he brings is so important. He brings it all together in using all these techniques to actually influence people, and then give some tips on the secrets of success. So for now, I want you to consider getting this book, reading this book, integrating this book. I will, in subsequent videos, explain more detail, give you real life examples in my life, in other people's lives, examples that come out of this book, to help you understand exactly why this is so impactful. And I remain sad that so often in the 20 years that I've wanted people to read this book, they get stuck on the title. They feel silly. They feel, but I have to admit to myself that I don't have friends, and that's why I read this book. That simply isn't true. I'm not going to be so arrogant as to try and come up with a better title because this book has been so successful. All I'm trying to do is to get you to not get stuck in that unfortunate place where all you see is the cover and you judge this book by that cover. You'll see my copy is rather old. I'm rather proud of that. And I hope to pass this on to my kids and to anybody that has a wish to influence people. And I promise you, that's what this book will do. Until then, this is Louis van Niekerk, and you're watching Explained.